Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
I've been in touch with some contacts at Williams, and they think your attitude and results might be a good fit for their team. We can talk to them at our next contract review if you're interested. Let's see what kind of offer they can put on the table.
Welcome to the north of Italy, where today's practice session is about to start for this weekend's Italian Grand Prix. One of the most famous corners here at Monza is the Variante del Rettifiglio, the first corner chicane. It's been the scene of so many first-lap incidents over the years, and I think the teams will be holding their breath, hoping that they make it through that corner cleanly at the start today.
This is such a tricky corner to find the right braking point for. You approach it around 220 miles per hour down the main straight, then scrub off 170 miles per hour in just over 100 metres. It's very easy, therefore, to overshoot and end up driving through the escape road.
Okay, test complete, and that was a very good job indeed. Alright, that's the program. That lap was too slow. You need to find more speed. Make sure to properly utilise your gear. We'll want to rerun the program if we can't improve on that time. That lap was no good. We need you to improve on that.
The will be open shortly, which means it's nearly time for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza. I was looking at some highlights of previous races here, and the one thing that really stood out to me was the run down to turn one. It's not an easy one to navigate, as everyone is scrapping to get into there first.
It's the scene of many incidents as drivers jostle for position. You have to make a choice between going for it and self-preservation. There's no point in going in hot if you don't come out intact the other side. Even if you're at the front, you will be worrying about the guys behind you.
The Italians love their cars and they love their racing. And of course, they love it here at Monza. Home race for Ferrari, of course, who've had 18 wins here since 1950. But you know, there's not been so much luck for the locals in the cockpit recently. The last Italian driver to win this race was back in 1966. So what now? I think it's time to make some more history here today. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6-mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Now I want to ask you about Kimi Raikkonen. They need second or better to ensure they stay in contention for the title. Anything outside of that and their fate is no longer in their hands.
The key now will be to keep in the right mindset. We've seen time and again that things go wrong if you just try and do the minimum. Not necessarily because of the pressure, but because it's different to your usual approach. They'll need to avoid that and stay focused today.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Verstappen, Nico Hülkenberg, and Sainz, Ocon, Magnussen, Grosjean and Kimi Raikkonen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Leclerc, Crofty, Fernando Alonso and Hamilton, Gasly, Stroll, Sergei Sirotkin and Brendan Hartley. Perez and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Start was okay, now stay alert for threats around you. Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
Great effort there from Ferrari to take the victory today. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. and it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well though, there's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari. It's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It's a good result for Sebastian Vettel, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Well, I have to give it to Lewis Hamilton. You know, it was just the kind of drive you'd expect from a multiple world champion.
And now let's take a look at the Constructors' standings. We saw a dip in form from the championship leaders today. Their lead has taken a significant blow. That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye, and see you again next time.
Good to see you're still in one piece. That was a heavy impact. The car's a mess, but it'll be ready for the next race.
You have to do a better job completing the goals the team set out for you. Their ability to develop will suffer if you miss them, and it'll count against you at the contract reviews.